What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Game Dev Unchained, the #1 game development podcast about game development and the lifestyle thereof. I'm your host, Brandon Pham, and with me, the one and only Ray Graham. How you doing, Ray? It's good, man. It's been a while. I kind of took like a break, kind of like a summer break. I see that you are enjoying yours as well. How's the Bay Area? You guys are... Can I park my car in the city yet, or what's going on? It's just like nothing in it. Yeah, that doesn't even work. Just treat it like a convertible. Yeah, yeah. Good. All right, all right. I always like to take a temperature because, I kind of hold it down here in SoCal. You hold it down there in NorCal. And I feel California kind of, well, any coastal states kind of sets the trend for that industry. Are people kind of rolling back into the office now? Is it more common, or is it still fully remote? What's the deal here? Yeah. I will say this. I'm seeing I take remote calls, and I am seeing more and more people creeping in with the background of their office now, more than before. Not like their stained sheets. Yeah. Well, what's wrong with my setup here? It's pretty dope, man. Yeah, I get you. Yeah. Yeah, I do agree. I do see that as the #1 excuse for people who has at least the ability to choose, that they too much family is too much family. And they're kind of looking for that escape, kind of what I theorized back then. And for people who need that division of work in life, um, the office is a nice escape to that. Uh, I do want to kind of get back into it. A lot of news in the last month, and this is a Roundtable news episode if you guys haven't read the title. So let's get into it. All right, this is a Roundtables news episode. For those who don't know, let me remind you, these are opinions of our own and not reflective of our company. Please don't try to get us fired. Okay. So, a lot of things have happened, Ray, over the past month. I think our last Roundtable news kind of was like a precipice of this conversation, where overall there was like the beginnings of a hiring freeze. I think Facebook was one of the big tech companies where it was like, hey, let's hold on to this. We always make fun of Meta and VR. And since then, we can actually add on to that. But overall, tech companies are following suit. Some even went as far as doing layoffs. I know like Tesla recently did like a huge layoff and actually upping more of hourly people, but keeping the salary the same. They kind of stopped, but they kind of I think they kind of laid off like a good percentage of their salary workforce, right? So we're seeing this kind of rumbling across. There is kind of like a pullback in the stock market as well, right? We're not a stock market podcast, but I'm kind of painting a picture here where all the industries in the country is kind of holding their breath to wait to see and waiting for the storm to kind of blow over. Right, that's the attitude now. And another thing, risky assets like crypto, right, is crashing pretty damn hard. It's like I think finally under the 20K, and it hasn't been there since 2017. Right, so that's like 70% drop. Its highest was in 70,000, right, per Bitcoin back in November. So yeah, that's a huge drop. So that is worthy of note because Bitcoin is kind of the leading factor for that side of things, which can also affect NFTs, right? And all the other buzzwords we've been kind of talking about as of late. So that is the main topic of this episode. I kind of want to throw it back to you, Ray. What are your thoughts, man? I know you pay attention to this stuff, and I know I'm kind of naming a lot of tech companies, but game industry is a close cousin, and it does kind of shit rolls downhill. So, how do you feel about all this? Hmm. There's a lot of hopes, like you said. Um,
Yeah.
I think everybody is kind of waiting to see overall what the big fellows are doing. One of it, I think, is one of the main thing here with remote working. I was kind of starting off seeing what's the temperature like, but I do see like overall, I the fundamental feelings of corporate or company is that they want people back, right? The majority I feel, but like employees kind of have the winning hand right now, and
Mm.
Tesla, if anything, kind of had an ultimatum saying, turn in your 2 weeks or go back to the office. That is like take it or leave it. And it was the strongest, I think, of any
Yeah.
company head to kind of lay down the law. And basically, he told everyone, hey, we can't build cars remotely. Right. So for that particular company, that makes sense
Well,
that
no,
might be a
it's
factor. Right.
because the factory workers were never at home anyway, right? Because they're making cars in the factory, right? But
Yeah.
there's software folks that don't need to be in the factory, right? But the verdict was just like, no, working in person is better, so therefore you got to be in the office. That was kind of more the thing, right? And a lot of people were just like, oh, well, that's out of touch. That sucks, you know. Um, and yeah, it was just yeah, yeah,
Yeah. 40 plus hour weeks or they will let go.
yeah.
Ah,
I'm not gonna say by more stronger words. Like I'm just yep, yeah. I think that's an outlier. I think that's just an outlier. I think that's just Elon being Elon Musk, right? You know what I mean? And there's other companies that want the workers to come back to work, but are not saying that. and are being way more flexible and understanding, right? So
Well, I think it's a cascading effect, right? I think the big dogs, whoever is brave enough to kind of step to the employees and say, "Hey, you need to go back to the office."
not,
Here's the paradigm shift that's happening right
yeah,
now, right? Employees kind of have all the hands, but
yeah,
as soon as one big company follows another big company
no.
into pushing people,
Nah, like
uh,
Apple was doing the same thing, and their workers were like all protesting and kicking up a dust, and Tesla's doing it. It's like these big, like no, not everyone is Apple or Tesla, right? So not everyone could just be like, oh, Tesla did it, okay, I could do it too. Nah, it doesn't work that way.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So like I don't think there's gonna be any sort of following of people going, yeah, Elon's right. Get back into the office. I just don't see that happening at all. Because most people, if it was just some other company, they would just be like, no, I'm not. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Or other people, maybe they're working at Tesla, they're like, this is the best job I ever had. I'm changing the world. I love this job. Okay, I'll come back to the office, right? Like Elon has a little bit more leverage for sure. Right.
Well, I do feel like overall that if games are still making money, right? We were a
Yeah.
few roundtables to go. The biggest game, Warzone, took a major hit, right? Some expected because of their huge influx. I think a lot of companies like Activision and others that was overhiring to kind of make up for lost time for delays during the pandemic because there was this whole paradigm shift in how people work. They were overhiring people, and now they're finding that, hey, this is not stable because we're only X amount of revenue, and now we don't have enough things for these people to do now that we got over the hump, right? So I think a lot of companies are finding themselves with too many people, and this is where it kind of leads to our next story, where companies like, well, Hangar 13, right, our old friend, for many reasons, but I think one of it was because of this overhiring fiasco, too many people on staff type of thing. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think it's that. I think this
Yeah.
flat out, it's not that. They did not overhire, right?
Yeah, so Hangar 13,
Now,
for some background, they made Mafia 3. What else did they make? A bunch of vertical slices that didn't get greenlit, right? I guess they didn't make anything after that, right?
I think so far it's only been Mafia 3, and then they have a few projects that were on the go internally.
That's a
Right?
10-year studio, correct? They've been around for 10 years.
Has it been 10 years already?
I feel like it, man. They spent a good 4 years on Hangar 13, Mafia 3, and then since then, been trying to get something going.
10 years. Oh yeah, it might have been that long ago. 2014. Yeah, that's 8 years.
8 years.
Eight
Yes.
years. Yeah.
So it was formed in 2014 December. And
Mm.
since then, they released Mafia 3. And through our friends that we know, they've been trying to get things going. A lot of these guys were dudes from the Lucas Arts studio, right? A lot of
I
those
mean,
leadership went over there.
I mean, they're from everywhere. LucasArts, folks from Microsoft. Like, I mean, yeah, it's just they're from somebody I know is the studio head over there. So like just from all over the place,
Yeah.
they built that team, right? Um, and you know, and they have they have a team abroad, and then they have folks in Nevada, and then they started up another studio like in the UK, right? So they're really gearing up, and I think like I heard through the grapevine they had like 2 or 3 projects going, right?
Mhm.
And the layoffs really only impacted one of those projects, is what I heard from folks, right?
Wait, the studio hasn't closed?
It has no, it's still open. Like it hasn't fully closed. Still making one project, I think, but the layoffs impacted one project. One project was basically canceled, and so therefore all of those people got laid off. Right.
Do you think this is a beginning of other studios that are somehow kept it together through the pandemic, but now are facing reality?
I don't think so. Like like maybe maybe Ubisoft, right? Because it was also been going through some stuff, right? But I think for the most part, for what I'm seeing, the game industry's been doing pretty well. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Unless it's like a complete flop, right? But a lot of games are coming out. Of course, some of them are being delayed and stuff like that, but there's still like some big hits that are coming out. Sony's doing their thing, and Microsoft has games come in and did a whole showcase off a bunch of games that they have that they're publishing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think we're gonna see some mass like everybody in the industry all of a sudden is like we need to start laying off people. I think studios that I called a long time ago that just cannot be sustainable, right? Are showing that to be true. You know what I mean?
So you don't think any of this is like the beginnings of, you know, tech companies are obviously stopping people from hiring. They were on a hiring spree, right? I always
Sure,
kind of
yeah.
look at those companies as maybe a year or 8 months ahead of us, right? As kind of
Yeah.
like
I mean,
trendsetters.
I mean, with those companies though, the difference is they were making like money hand over fist, so their stock price was just their stocks were just like soaring, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they could hire people that attract talent, just throw stock at them and be like, our stock has like gone up 30% the last year. Here, have some stock, right? Come join us, right? The video game industry isn't that, right? Right? I
Mm-hmm.
think we know that to be true. And so I don't think they were on such a hiring spree during the pandemic, right? Maybe a lot of contractors, right? Maybe some instances they were hiring on, but I don't think, at least not from what I'm seeing, I don't think they were in some sort of situation where they have to be like firing everybody now. You know what I mean? Unless it was already dubious that they had a studio in the first place. You know what I mean?
Well, this is a good mark too. Like we're at about a time where streaming games are kind of like more comfortable now. Console hype from the launches during the pandemic is starting to calm down, right? Um, of course, there are always games that are free to play that are doing well, and indie games popping here and there. But companies like Activision or Ubisoft, who are always first to boast numbers, aren't. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
feel like they're braggadocious lately about that type of stuff.
Yeah, and like this is, I'm gonna try to say it the nicest way I can, but they're not really. I think the public is bored of
Yeah.
this stuff that they're coming with, right? And like even when you see it, you're just like, nah, you know, like the Microsoft thing where they showed all the games that are coming right over this year and next year. There is very little to be excited about there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so like it's just I think, and especially with Activision and Ubisoft, like where's the games that get you hype? You know, maybe some people are happy about yet another Modern Warfare, and it looks great, like as always, right? The
This
graphics look
man
great
spent Father's Day
and
protecting.
all of that, but at the same time, I'm like, man, this is the same game. You know what I mean, right? It's just like yet another different setting, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just I think there's a lot of apathy out there, and people are not like, yay, Far Cry 6, another Far Cry. Let me pick that up. Like people are bored, I think. At least I am.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, let me. So it kind of kicked off with the Summerfest, right?
Yeah.
Summerfest is like a combination of all of these conferences. Like Microsoft had their
Mm-hmm.
own, Sony kind of had their own, I believe, right? And a few other publishers. And like you said, this is kind of a good preview of what's to come for the next 2-3 years. And right now, we're kind of looking at Last of Us 2, or Last of Us remake, the first one,
Mm-hmm.
and And yeah, I kind of felt the same. I don't know if it's because of our age. I'm not as hyped as I used to before. I mean, Street Fighter looks cool, I guess,
No, Street Fighter
but
looks dope. Like, yeah,
yeah,
no, yeah, yeah. I'm gonna get
but
Street
the
Fighter.
and you know, but there was a lot of the ones that I do like are kind of remakes or sequels,
Yeah.
as usual. Um, Talking about The Last of Us, Street Fighter. What was the other one? Resident Evil 4.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it was like a quick snippet, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of original IP, I guess our good friend over there, Larry, is working on Callisto Protocol, the Dead Space 2.0. It's the best way
Just call it spiritual successor
to
to
Dead
Dead
Space.
Space. That's
Yeah.
really what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised. I thought you would be in an orange jumpsuit the whole time. I was like, all right, I can get down with this. And then he literally puts on the same gear, the same armor, basically, and had like that iconic plasmic gun. I was like, all right, this is Dead Space. And like, well, I mean, coming from you worked on Dead Space, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. How did you feel about that? It was
No,
cool.
no, yeah, I think it's cool. Like I was like, I think we need more Dead Space in our lives, and like a good version of Dead Space, because EA just doesn't want to.
Well, they're making a remake too. You think this is kind of
Yeah.
coincidence or kind of like they're
Oh wait, they are making a Dead Space remake finally. That's right. That's right.
at the same time, and it looks pretty dope too. Let me look that up,
Yeah.
man.
Striking Distance, like Glenn is the original creator of
Yeah,
Dead Space,
yeah,
and so like that's kind of like his thing, and it looks like he's gone even more over the top with it, right? So like
yeah,
it looks cool. Like I'm gonna play that for
yeah. It looks
sure.
cool.
Yeah. Like that was
But
the one thing that I like. Yes, it is something you've seen before. It is spiritual successor to Dead Space, like dialed up a bit more, but it's still like I'm not bored of Dead Space yet. Like I could do with more of that. You know what I mean? So I'm not mad at it.
yeah, let me see if you can tell the difference. This is the remake
You
here.
could totally tell the difference.
Let me look at Callisto Protocol. No hate, man. I love Dead Space. Dead Space was one of my favorite game when it came out for sure.
This looks like Dead Space 2, is it?
It's Dead Space 1 remake. That's the game.
Oh, this Dead Space 1 remake. Man, it's been a while. It's been a
I
while.
mean, like the where the person stands for the over the shoulder is exactly like the same distance. It's
Yeah,
like they
it's
watched this and
it's
made sure it was correct.
yeah, it's a spiritual successor, man. You know what it is.
But do you think EA caught wind of this and they were like, "Hell no, this is ours." So this is
You know,
Callisto. I mean, it obviously looks better.
yeah, you got that grain on it. I can't see nothing.
Yeah,
But yeah, it looks way better. Yeah. But that's expected.
this one
Yeah.
was borrowed from our good friend Gainer thing, right?
Oh,
Or
like
has it been done before?
holograms. Yeah, holograms been done before.
In that way? No, I
Like that's
remember
just a
Gainer was the
hologram.
first
No,
one doing it.
that's just a hologram telling a story. What Tacoma was doing was like even crazier than that. So like
What other game did
you
it
could
like that?
rewind.
Where
Like, oh man, there's so many games that are like, let's show you a diary, and it's like, Horizon Zero Dawn does that, right? They have these holograms replaying a story
but
as a
Gainer was the
cinematic.
first one that really did it, I feel.
No,
No,
definitely
before
no.
Tacoma, there was. I don't remember everyone doing
Yeah,
that. That was popular.
yeah. But like
Just
this, yeah,
remember.
this here looks pretty dope. Yeah, I'm not mad at this little protocol at all. I think it'd be good.
What do you think? What's going on here with the future slate? Our games are again trending towards too expensive, where risk level is just not
Yeah, that's what
possible.
no, that's what it is, right? Like if you drop in millions of dollars, you want to like, will people want to play this thing, right? And the sure way of doing that is like play to nostalgia, some sequels, familiar gameplay, right? There was some article about that actually, about how like things, a lot of games are risk adverse, and gameplay is suffering because of it. We're kind of saying the gameplay is all kind of the same or very familiar, because that's what people will buy. That's what people. That's because we know because previous games did this, and so we'll do it as well. And this reduces the risk that's inherent. I think that's what you get when you're dropping hundreds of millions of dollars trying to make these things, right?
Uh,
There's
I
no
will say this:
time. There's no time for art and all
yeah.
that. Man.
Well, what's interesting to me is that a lot of these games are single player. That's where they felt less risky about. Uh, and for a while, we always felt like it was kind of trending towards free to
Yeah,
play,
there's
multiplayer.
there's
But
still
like
a
the
lot
games
of
that me
multiplayer.
and you are excited about are Dead Space Remake. I don't mind playing that again.
Yeah,
Callisto
I
Protocol,
mean, Street Fighter is definitely
RE4 remake. Yeah, Street Fighter is a fighting game.
yeah.
The Last of Us 1 remake.
I'm not excited about any of those, quite frankly, like Resident Evil or the Last of Us remake. Like, I mean,
You wouldn't
that's
check it out,
I might check out Resident Evil 4 remake, maybe.
bro? That game was dope, man.
Like, no, I love Resident Evil 4, but I'm saying I might check out the
That
remake.
started the whole third person genre.
Yeah, dude.
The original.
Yeah, I know. But really, like, what did I see that was like, yeah, I'm all in. I need to play that. Oh, it's an indie
The
game.
Aliens game.
No. Roller drone. That
Roller
game.
Germ.
It's like roller derby, and you're shooting folks and doing the acrobatic stunts and everything. Published by,
I
I think
think I saw that.
it's from Roll 7. Yeah, like that looks dope. That was like, I saw that, I was like, yeah, this is dope. Like, because it was
Different.
fresh. It was fresh, different, looked great, looked like it was fun.
Roller Champions? Is that what you're talking about?
No, Roller Jerome is what it's called. It was just showed a couple weeks ago. I'm talking about. You found it.
Trying to. It's not trending on. I only see Roller Champions.
Just Google it, man. Just Google it. I'll even send you the link. Here we go.
Send me the link.
Boom. I don't know why you pulling up Aliens Darkness. What is that?
Hey man, there was like 3 Aliens game being announced. I guess it got recently acquired. Oh yeah, I remember seeing this. The graphic art.
Yeah, dude. Looks interesting. At least I'm like, yeah, I'll check that out. You know what I mean?
Private division. That's the 2K company.
Yeah, 2K external publishing.
Finally doing something with that. Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember
They've been
this.
doing something for a while, but yeah.
Well, what other games do they have?
I mean, Private Division, just a bunch of them. Just a ton of them.
A lot of nostalgia.
Yeah,
80s and 90s kind
Kerbal,
of coming back.
Kerbal Space Program, the Outer Worlds, Ollie World.
Kerbal Space Program. That story broke on this podcast, if you remember.
Oh yeah.
We went viral and we didn't even know what we had. Some crazy ass fans had to break it for us.
Oh, man.
No, it's cool.
Moon Studios, Hades.
Overall, you're just tired of realistic, right? What about the Arcane game? We have a friend that actually Redfall.
You know what's crazy about that is like when they showed it, I was like, this was their Arcane game. Like immediately, I was just like, oh, this is an Arcane game for sure, right? And then, yep, it was from Arcane.
The sad thing about that company is that I feel like they can do a better BioShock than the 2K guys.
No, I love. Well, here's the thing, like, well, okay, that's what it is, right? Like Arcane, their pedigree is System Shock and and the Shock like games, and they're fans of System Shock, and they're fans of Bioshock, and so they make these immersive Sims, right?
Yeah.
And that's what Deathloop is. That's what Dishonored is,
Yep.
and that's exactly what Redfall looks like. And that's why I was like, hey, this looks like an arcane game, right? Only
Yeah.
they really make these games.
Yeah. They make them,
You know
and
what I
they're
mean? And
design
they're
wise
good,
very
and they're
good. Yeah.
and they're good, right?
Yeah.
So, um, is the only thing that's making me go about this is like vampires really.
I know. I like for a few years ago, even I worked on a vampire game, and they were trying to make it like the next zombies. You know.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's kind of no, it's kind of like they want to make it zombies, but they're like, oh, we can't make it zombies. Let's make it vampire. You know, it's like one of those things.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
hope they make it
still,
cool. Maybe you
but
know.
still, no, but still, it does look cool, right? It still looks cool. Still like something it might be interesting to play. Like I love arcane games, right? So, I would,
I do
I would
like the
definitely. The
what do you call
animations
it?
look dope. You know.
The aesthetic, not the art style, but like they feel like one of those WB shows, kind of teenagers
Yeah,
era. You know what I mean?
yeah. But the other thing I noticed about this too is like, they're like,
Like Archie comics kind of feel.
no, they're like, I really like how the vampires die in Blade. Let's do that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so they just recreated that effect. That's dope. But yeah.
Is that kind of postcard art as well. It's a certain
Yeah.
style I forgot.
It's
It's like
I saw
60s.
this. I
Right?
saw this dude and I was like, this looks like arcane game. Like
Yeah, yeah. Their art style is
this,
very
this is yeah.
distinct.
Yeah.
It's very Bosch. I hope they. I don't, vampires are very hard games. Like there's no vampire games that actually do well.
Yeah.
Um, I can't even remember one. I mean, there was one game that was literally called Vampire, spelled kind of Polish or something.
There's
Like,
that one, yeah. And then there's like,
and it
isn't there like,
looked like an interview with vampire kind of vibe, you know, like more realistic take on it. And even then, I didn't have the urge to pick it up. It's like it's not enough for me to pick it up.
yeah.
But hopefully, this is a co-op 4-player game, and you
Hmm.
know the kind of like little Borderland robot that they throw into it kind of helps with variety, I guess.
Hmm.
Um, I'm also hoping they have more like a versus mode too, where it's not just what player versus what is this genre called when you play against computer
PVE, right?
PVE?
Co-op,
Yeah.
co-op PVE. Yeah.
Hope they have other modes, but still kind of in that singular fashion. Of course, we don't know all the modes or anything, but they're kind of promoting like a story linear
Yeah.
path, right? So
Mhm.
I mean, I'm interested to kind of hear your thoughts about that because I thought for the longest time that single player, this type of linear storytelling is dead, um,
But
unfinanceable.
but I mean, it's a co-op game though, right? That you play with your friends, and so that kind of is another
Yeah, but
layer
how
to it.
many? I mean, the main thing is replay value, though. Like that's the thing that people finance and invest in.
Yeah, sure.
So
I
where's the
don't.
replay value in
Yeah,
something like this?
I don't think we know enough yet.
Yeah,
You know, about the game to really say if there is any or not, right? Uh, but if it's an arcane game, all of their games are kind of made to be replayable, right?
I don't know. Do
Yes.
people replay Dishonored still
the,
after
the
they
hard
beat it?
hardcore people do because like then they're like, oh, let me play it a different way, let me ghost it, let me,
Ah,
there's
they don't
different
count.
way.
Come on, man. We're
Oh, I'm
talking
just
about masses here. Hardcore nerds, of course they play anything
I mean,
over and over again.
I don't think the masses replay games
For
anyway.
Arcane, yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't think the masses replay games, period, unless it's a strictly multiplayer game or Fortnite and things like
Well,
that.
that's what I mean. Like those are the core. That's the moneymaker, right? A continuous game,
Yeah,
a
yeah,
live service type of game.
yeah, yeah. This is definitely. I don't think this is games as a service. Definitely not. Right.
So that's why I'm surprised that it's kind of shifting this way. Is it because we're at the beginning of a game cycle, console cycle that this kind of testing the technology? more predictable. What was?
Maybe people just don't want to make games as a service, yo.
But this is a lot. I would say the
Yeah,
Summerfest, one demo after another.
yeah.
Even
Because
the
like,
Aliens game were kind of
can you
like linear.
no, but can you
Uh,
imagine right now waking up and going, "I'm going to make a games as a service. I'm going to compete with Fortnite and Warzone." Like you're gonna wake up in the morning and say, like, I don't know, like maybe there's people out there that are like, yeah, I want to do that, but like, I don't know, man.
no,
That's just,
I think as a developer, unless you're
yeah,
a badass seasoned multiplayer designer that like makes Fortnite in their sleep, right? Most
yeah.
people who venture on their own or start a new company uh, leans towards a linear story because it's an easier, more predictable model for game developers because game development is already hard, right? Um, I always feel that even years ago, like 5 to 6 years ago, or even 10 years ago, that it hit a certain point that we can't just do that anymore, right? We have to add something that shows some replay value to
So
investors.
we say this, right, and then Sony,
Yeah,
like all their top hit games are very much single player games, right?
yeah,
They're open world and large, and will you'll be playing those for like 100 hours or whatever, right? But like all of their games are single player and not multiplayer games as a service or microtransaction out. You know what I mean? Like there's Horizon Zero Dawn, there's Ghost of Tsushima, like and there's more. Like I can't even list them all, right? But they're all like
Street
single
Fighter
player.
looks so good.
Yeah, it does. Last of
Street
Us,
Fighter
Last of Us.
to me, like these fighting games have still like being an environment artist. Of course, the character's dope, but still has the best environments. Like Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Tekken have the best environments out of
It's
everything.
really it's a little easy when you just have that one camera angle, right?
I know. So everything's choreographed,
Yeah.
nicely placed. Um, Cinematography is perfect
And it's just detail and cool shit happening,
all the time. Yeah, it's
right?
so good. But like, there has to be my main thing, and what I'm getting at is it feels like suddenly there's flexibility. Suddenly it's actually encouraged to make these time games where I felt like there was a good length of time where that wasn't the case. I
Yeah.
wonder, is it because these consoles and everybody else has some kind of streaming game service now where it's okay to take these kind of risks? Like it does feel like something happened, not just suddenly game developer. I feel game developers have always kind of want to make linear games, but suddenly now it's being financed and pushed through and promoted like more than
Uh,
before.
I
No,
don't know. I just think everything's a cycle. You know what I mean? And I just think there was that gold rush for games as a service, and then everybody kind of got
cooled
over it.
off.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because it's just no, right?
This is
Like just
COD
no.
right here.
Yeah, it's COD. Yeah, I mean, it looks great. Graphics look great,
Yeah, it looks good.
but doesn't play this game, bro.
Well, then you think this game's gonna bring the franchise back? Because even Activision, like Activision, talk about timing, right? They're like the linear story dudes, and they seem to be having focus. I mean, a year ago, they're kind of focusing back to mainly on live games like Warzone, primarily.
Yeah. I mean, Call of Duty's always been about the multiplayer and online stuff for
Well,
us.
I mean,
Anyways,
yeah, but like single
anyways,
player wise, they promote the shit out of that. I mean, that's what the
they
main sell
do,
is
they do, but
for story and actors and all these crazy A-listers.
I bet you any money, 80% of the people that buy that game don't play the campaign at all. I bet
It's a
you
good
any money.
percentage, yeah.
I bet you any money, right? So like, it was never about the campaign.
But the marketing wise, I think
Yeah, because it
eighty
looks cool.
percent. Yeah,
It's
80% of
easy
it.
to market.
It's a
Yeah,
single player stuff that gets
yeah,
marketed, not multiplayer.
yeah. It's easy to
So it
market.
goes
It's
hand in hand. Yeah,
easy to understand. It's cinematic. It's beautiful, right? It it
makes you
it
feel
definitely
cool.
helps. Definitely helps with marketing for sure. Yeah, it's all scripted. Yeah.
Well, let me talk about the major publishers here, right? You know, it kind of watching the summer festival thing. It was a great reminder to kind of see Microsoft like kind of show their hard work of acquiring Bethesda, right? Who else did they buy?
Who didn't they buy? That's the question you should ask.
Was Bethesda, not Bethesda, ZeniMax Games basically, and then one major company after that. What did they buy recently? Man, I can't believe I'm blanking on this.
I'm blanking on it too. Actually, it was Bethesda, not Bungie. They bought
Activision. Duh,
yeah.
so, it's so weird to kind of see that under Microsoft's roof now. The Blizzard games, right? Overwatch 2, I guess. Diablo 4 was the big thing. Another sequel.
I saw, yeah, I saw Diablo 4, and I was like, oh man, it's Diablo.
Yeah.
And then I was like, it does look good though.
Like,
that was kind of my the range of emotions, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
but
yeah,
like even looking at those that camp, like I was like you feel a little underwhelmed. I was like, wow, you have these two major publishers to show their hand for the next couple years, and it wasn't like aggressively a lot, right? It was just a few. I think on a single hand I can count.
It's gonna be the IPs, man. It's gonna be the major IPs that Microsoft bought them for. That's what they're gonna show.
But what I mean is, like, looking at Microsoft Camp, I'm still. It doesn't feel that much, right? You have Bethesda. They have some, I guess, some Fallout stuff. Fallout Online or something.
Well, you're like Fallout Online. No, it's called Starfield. It's called
Starfield. Right? Yeah,
it's called Starfield.
Can you give me some history of that? Like, I don't know anything about Starfield, man. I never really heard of it.
Well, I think you're. It's basically Fallout in space, right? But
looks like it, yeah.
But yeah, it definitely looks like it. But yeah, there was some big hype up, about Starfield is gonna change, the RPG genre and all this kind of stuff, right? So they finally showed a bit of it at the Microsoft event. They did some interviews after, and I think the general, at least with the folks I talked to, the general consensus was like, I don't know, bruh. I don't know. This looks very, very, very sketchy. You know what I mean? We have to see how it pans out, right? They're claiming you could go to hundreds of different planets and land on them and do missions and stuff. You know how it goes when there's 100 things that you can do. It starts becoming very samey or very
100 lies.
Very procedurally generated, and like, is it really going to be cool? Is this going to be AAA No Man's Sky, or like
Star Citizen?
Is every planet going to be interesting? The one thing I definitely think this game's going to come out unlike Star Citizen, but like, will it be any good? Who knows, right? And there's some cool stuff.
This is an original IP, you said, right?
It's original IP, but like,
that's the first for a while.
You can customize your ship, right? So that's gonna be really cool, like customizing your ship, and you can actually fly in out of space and do dogfights and fights and stuff. Like a lot of it is like No Man's Sky and what Star Citizen should have been, kind of thing. But like, what
kind of has the Anthem feel to it too.
Yeah, what we're shown though, like, I don't know, man. I'm
just a lot of rocks, linear path.
I'm not hyped about what I'm seeing.
No, this is a very well-known trick. Go down a linear path. Yeah. Let's show them.
I mean, it is a demo, and like these things are like scripted events to show off the demo and stuff like that, but it shows more stuff, and it's just like, I don't know, man. Like, it's just, I'm reserving my judgment. It goes on a bit more. Like I said, they'll show the ship customization stuff and some other things, but
I will say this:
show the mining stuff that's like straight up No Man's Sky.
This is one of the better looking Bethesda games.
It still doesn't look that good. Right?
But that's saying a lot, right?
Yeah. It's
This is their best effort here, because I've never been impressed with any Bethesda games, man. I mean, outside of Arcane, right?
yeah, yeah.
Talking about like ZeniMax specific
You talk
Bethesda.
about specifically Skyrim
Skyrim,
and Fallout.
Fallout, those games always look like ass
Yeah.
to me. This at least looks decent.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, well, I mean, it's a bunch of rocks, but these interiors here look,
Yeah,
typical.
yeah.
Um,
But like, I saw
Not
all
great.
this,
Yeah.
saw this gameplay and stuff. And I'm just like, I don't know, bro. I really
No,
don't.
this is definitely a lot of trickery here. Because even the Unreal demo shows more like impressed. Unreal 5 demo where they're flying through the sky. Uh, this is barely getting it to COD, right? You know what I mean? It's like trying to be
Yeah,
COD right here,
but it's not. But it's
but it's
the thing
not.
is, like, it's not COD, right? And
Yeah.
like, you're not gonna play it like because it's gonna be an RPG, right? And it's gonna be about your skills and what you've unlocked and all that kind of stuff. Uh,
But that's their bread and butter, the RPG gameplay element.
yeah, and the emergent gameplay and all of
Do you
that.
feel like this will have it? Because right now we're not seeing much, right? This feels a lot like trying to be COD right now.
Yeah, and that's why. Yeah,
You're going around first person, third person.
yeah,
For those who are listening, it feels exactly like COD right now. Supposedly it's open world, but so far you kind of been following a very linear path. You're on a building exterior. Now you're finally flying to a ship
flying.
that landed.
You got a jetpack flying in the air.
This guy looks worried.
No, now they're going to show the ship customization and the space battle.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Okay. Now we're
Or like
actually in a city here, New
big
Atlantis.
city. Yeah. I saw. Yeah.
The hub area. They love walking around hubs. But no gameplay. It's just a place where you can talk.
Yeah. And buy stuff, level up your character.
It's like menu options. It's like, no, we must be physical spaces
Immersion.
that you can walk up to.
Immersion, bro. But yeah, man, I'm just looking at this. I'm like, it is their best looking game for sure, but it's not fantastic. Yeah. And will it be? How buggy will it be at launch? Like, is this gonna be another?
Absolutely buggy, of course.
Is this gonna be another Cyberpunk, or what is it? What's gonna happen?
Well, just pick another Bethesda game.
It's a lot of questions. A lot of questions. And the scale that they're touting is enormous. You know what I mean? So how can you even make all that and make it fun and interesting?
It's their best looking game by far. It's interesting. I mean, they have a cyberpunk sci-fi city. I mean, that alone is cool. Most of their shots is from one level, one planet. It's that rock level, which tells me they're pretty early on. I mean, they have interior spaces, but it's like typical sci-fi modular pieces. Nothing too crazy. A close up for talking. I mean, I feel like a lot of these art were basically canceled art, where they're trying to find out what this game is and they're just throwing it all together. There's some space fighting, some creature.
Zero G combat.
Yeah, Zero G combat.
Could be interesting.
Mining. A lot of ice caverns, dinosaur creature looking. I mean, here's the concern. As an artist, when you look at something like this and you try to do it realistic and you talk about it being like an expansive world, there's a reason why Star Citizens take forever. It takes a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Where in No Man's Sky, stylized art, where it's its own art style, it's believable that you can say that, hey, we procedurally made thousands of planets.
I'll give them props. For looks like you can actually make black people in the character creator.
Nowadays, you can't get away with without that feature.
No,
What?
you are lying.
What?
You're damn lying. Yeah, no.
What was the last
There's plenty.
creator
No, there's plenty of games
games?
where you cannot make a variety of black people. Plenty that are recent.
I saw
Yeah,
a YouTube video
or
about
one
someone making fun
hairstyle,
of
one
that.
hairstyle
Yeah, it
balls.
was like,
Yeah,
hey, we have more
yeah,
than one hairstyle. It's like,
yeah,
oh, an afro too.
yeah.
Fade and an afro. I was like, what is this? It's like, sir.
Absolutely not.
That's so funny. What was the last game that came out with the
I
creative
see all this
hairstyle?
stuff, and I'm like, all right, cool, yeah. I can put attachments on my guns. Cool. Um,
It's just a lot. If they can pull it off, great, right? But when you
yeah, yeah.
do a game that is realistic like this, it's like that's a lot of
You build
time and
you
effort.
build your own base, your own
Come on,
outpost, right? With modular pieces like Fallout 76 style, and
all
Fallout
right,
4, Fallout 4
show me,
style. Look at this
prove
craziness.
it to me.
Yeah.
I mean, it did.
It's gonna get to the ship customization part, and you can fly the customized ship, and it's supposed to handle differently based on customizations.
Sure. Well, and for a while, Star Citizen and be what it is, what it's promising. There's only a few games that actually attempted to actually do it and
Yeah,
ship it, right? No Man's Sky being one of them.
and it took
Uh,
No Man's Sky a solid 5 years after the fact to
yeah,
really make it what they wanted to make it. You know what I
right.
mean? So change color, change components, change like completely different looking ships. Yeah, dude. Like, I mean, I'll be there. I'll be there with my money ready. You know what I mean? But we'll see.
Some people just have that rich
Yeah.
luck, dude. It's like they're born with it. It's just like rich guy luck.
Uh,
It's very distinctive. I hope it looks interesting. I'm game, dude. I love sci-fi games. If anything, man, I like Summer Festival. Aside from the remakes and stuff, a lot of sci-fi games. There was a
oh yeah.
lot of
I,
space
there was
specific games.
a lot of I've heard about it was just like there's a lot of monsters and then space monsters
Yeah,
or land monsters. Space monsters or land monsters. And then
yeah,
that was pretty much every game.
yeah.
But yeah.
Very similar aesthetic. It was
Yeah.
hard to kind of tell them apart a little. Um, what's great is when I look at these games. Yeah, I look at it as a fan, but as a developer too, it's like, all right, what's being greenlit now for the next 2 years? Because you got to believe you're piggybacking off their market research. Of course, if you have an original idea, it doesn't matter what the trend is. But
Yeah.
if you have a weak idea, which is like 99% of us, you look at these, and to kind of try to figure out what's interesting to people nowadays, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot of space. People were maybe the Musk, SpaceX talking about Mars.
No, honestly, it's this game has not been made before, or hasn't been made to this fidelity before,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of games that have gone after it, have been successful to various degrees. Elite Dangerous, No Man's Sky we mentioned, definitely not Star Citizen. But like people are chasing after it, right? And Starfield is like that promise finally delivered at a high quality, right?
Hmm.
We'll see. We'll see. Yeah. It's hard, man. Making those games is hard.
Well, it takes a lot of people,
Yeah.
and I think they're kind of glad the pandemic's over, that their team is able to focus on it again. I mean, those 2 years were kind of scary. I mean, I know we were kind of thriving better than most companies or most industries, but like
Mhm.
it felt like for 2 years it was kind of like no news of exciting games really.
I mean,
It was like
I
stalling.
think some really good games came out during those 2 years, despite the pandemic.
Well, the indie games, I think, Among Us, Fall Guys. Uh,
Yeah. I mean,
there was that
Horizon
medieval
Zero.
game that kind of killed too.
Oh yeah. Mhm.
Horizon Zero Dawn came out. What are you talking about? The
Well,
sequel?
Forbidden West, yeah. Well, it just came out like this year, but still pandemic
Yeah.
things, right? So it was developed during the pandemic. Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
man, it's interesting.
so are you hopeful? I mean, you kind of voiced that things are slowing down for you in terms of like it wasn't like knocked back with all the options that you saw. More less so than years before, at least.
Yeah, definitely. No, I'm definitely not that excited about the games I know about that are coming. Of course, there's always the indie games that excite me more because they're always doing something different or interesting. I'm playing a lot of my nerd strategy games right now, so
Mm-hmm.
like a lot of this stuff is just like meh, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But like there's a few that I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna buy that regardless, like Street Fighter,
yeah.
um, and even maybe even some of the other ones, but like Starfield, I'm skeptical, but maybe I will still check it out. You know what I mean? Because you just have to, if you want to know what people are doing and what's the good stuff in there, and what's the bad stuff, Um, but like overall, though, I don't think there's a lot of interesting stuff happening, at least in the AAA segment.
Well, to
It's
give people like a gauge here, man, what was the last AAA game that you were excited about that you saw and like it day one
Horizon,
buy?
Horizon Zero Dawn,
Okay, I see.
and then like and then like Ghost of Tsushima, right? Those
This
those
is for
those
sure,
are
man.
those were like, oh yeah, I gotta buy that. You know what I mean?
Which Ghost of Tsushima was the
Samurai,
Western
yeah, there's like Samurai one.
team, right?
Yeah, yeah, but it was from Insomniac. Yeah, not
Yeah,
Insomniac.
Insomnia.
Sorry,
I know
no,
this.
no, it was from Sucker Punch.
Yeah, I've been meaning to want to play that.
Oh wait. I think also the last AAA game that I was really really excited about, and that
Cyberpunk?
is like one of my favorite games
No. What?
is Spider Man.
Spider Man.
Right?
You
Like that
like
one.
you like vibrant, colorful games.
But,
It
no, like
sounds like
Spider Man's just
Horizon Zero
incredible.
Dawn is kind of saturated, bright. Spider Man, hopeful, bright.
Yeah, but they're just
Uh,
good games, man.
they are good games.
They're just good games.
Mhm.
Um, and they still kind of they're fun. Like when you play them, you're like, oh, I'm having a good time playing this. Like for me, Spider-Man more so than Horizon, but Spider-Man is just incredible.
You don't like these kind of games that kind of makes you feel
Like this
sad and
I have no interest. Like, what is this?
I
This
don't know.
looks
It
like
feels like
chaos.
Doom.
Looks like chaos, right? So
Yeah, decapitation happening. You're shooting kind of like
yeah.
space zombies. It looks like Doom.
Oh, it's
Warhammer.
Warhammer. Okay. I didn't even know what that was. Yeah, but nah, man. Like, definitely not interested.
Anime game.
And I told you I brought up Roller Drome, right? Like it's that kind of stuff where I'm like, oh,
You don't
okay.
like this game? This is your type of game, isn't it?
But
Bayonetta,
just
crazy
just
anime.
just just you're seeing anime and like mechs, you're like, yo, Ray, you should like this.
Well, this is your type of game. You love this kind of slasher games.
No, I'll say that it does look interesting. I would
The art looks dope.
yeah,
Which one
I
is
would
this
definitely
one?
mess with it.
Zenless Zone Zero? Is that really what the game is called? Why would you name it ZZZ? That's such a bad.
It's because it's anime game, dude. Yeah.
I'll fast forward this. I think there was. Here's
Oh, there you go.
Callisto.
Callisto. Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Protocol.
All right. Well,
Definitely.
I mean, it kind of started. I'm interested to see. I kind of feel the same way. There hasn't been a game that really jumped at me lately.
Mm.
Like you, I kind of lean towards more positive, bright type of games that makes me feel like good. I'm kind of done with like gruesome gore, makes me feel like I can't sleep type of games. Uh,
Also play Callisto Protocol though.
I will play Callisto Protocol.
Yeah.
The RE4 remake is one of my favorite games. We'll
Yeah.
play that. Of course, Street Fighter. Um, I never really finished Last of Us 1, but now with the graphical update, I'm
Get it
gonna
on
play that.
PC. Get it on
I will,
PC.
but like the I will say this: the last thing that I've been reading that have gotten me excited are the Alex Half-Life mods. I don't know, you've been hearing those, right? There's Half-Life 2 mod VR that's coming out. Let me kind of pop it up here so people can see.
I didn't hear about that at all.
Half-Life 2 uh, VR. It's basically Half-Life 2, but they've been modding it so that you can play it in VR now, basically. Let's see. And then there's another one that takes place in Half-Life universe.
You know what's crazy too? You know how old Half-Life 2 is?
Yeah, super old.
And when you see the environments and stuff, they still look pretty good.
No, this looks cool. Here's the
No,
cool thing about VR, man. Like crappy looking games you look at PC, right? I mean, Half-Life 2 is obviously not crappy. It's just
it's
old.
not crappy. It's not crappy. But even as old as this game is,
No,
right?
the way they textured it was, yeah, it worked.
Textures look good. Yeah.
Yeah. But like in VR, what I found is actually it always enhances it. Just being in the environment, it always looks better than PC, in my
No, but
opinion.
no, but in VR, you're even in worse situation though because you could like go close to things and like
You would say, you would think that.
But in Half-Life 2, things look good close up. You know,
No, it looks
that's
good.
yeah.
So I'm excited to play this in VR because I still got to finish Alex, but like I love Half-Life 2. And there was another mod. Let me pull that up.
I don't want to pick up the Chinese food containers. Like
Half-Life Alex Levitation. That's the game. So that's a little more in line with Alex. Looks good.
And also I feel like walking around in VR is disconcerting for me, at least for me.
You gotta get the treadmill, bro.
Yeah, okay.
That treadmill looks hella awesome to me.
I've
The
seen
one in Ready Player One specifically. There's like a more like shitty version.
I've seen one that they're
feel
actually
just
selling,
good.
and you can run in 360 degrees, like
Yeah,
any
the
direction.
exact one in Ready Player One. That's a real thing. But if you want updated graphics, VR, this is a mod called Half-Life Alex Levitation. Looks pretty dope.
Mhm.
Uses a lot of the same updated textures.
Yeah.
It's just more Alex, it seems like. And this is approved by Valve and officially going to be released by Valve. So they
Oh, okay.
endorsed this mod.
I didn't even hear about this. That's cool.
Yeah, man. So for me, like, yeah, Street Fighter's cool. All these remakes are cool. I don't have the same excitement that I used to have for the originals,
Yeah.
But when a VR game, I think VR is the future eventually. It's going to take a while. I think everything just plays better in VR. So when I saw these two mods, I was like, oh, cool. It got me excited. So, because it is new to me.
This not gonna age. This not gonna age very well. I tell you that right now.
Oh, VR? I mean,
No. I mean your statement.
What game is it? Like, even like with Starfield, right? I would be just take any game. It would 10x my excitement if you just say it's VR.
I think you're tripping, but okay, that's fine.
That's just my general feeling.
Yeah.
I mean, the prototype for Meta, yeah, I don't know, you saw that? They kind of had like this conceptual video for their next headset that is not Oculus. It's more, and it's not even the one that they were intending for
Mm. I can't.
Enterprise,
Well, I swear the
Cambria or
last time.
something.
I swear the last time we did this, you were like, you were talking mad trash about Facebook, Meta, and now you're like VR is the future. Like I don't understand what's going on here. This is very
Here's the key word here: Valve. Right, the two VR projects I pointed to you were Valve related. Right,
no, no.
I don't think Meta is gonna take us anywhere in terms of gameplay. The software is what's got me excited. I need true game developers like Valve to make VR games, and then I'll be excited. Meta with their stupid Zoom VR shit. Get out of my face. You're losing money. And as a quick update, dude, they're one of the first to freeze hiring. And you know, this endless loop of money that we thought they have, this 10-year plan till they're profitable, I guess isn't sitting well with their their stockholders.
They had to scale back the ambitions a bit.
They had to scale back completely. Now it feels like, you know, Facebook have stopped growth both on, well, Facebook and Instagram, all their avenues. They kind of hit like a stalemate. And I don't know if they're going to be able to make it through, man. It feels like their next hit has to be a hit for this thing to kind of go and continue this way. And I think Apple going to do what Apple does. They're letting Meta kind of dig their own grave, get the hype going, build up the fan base, and then come up with this fancy schmancy headpiece that blows everything away and do it correctly.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah. Who knows? Who knows?
Dude, look at this. There's Meta is not showing any of this. This is a mod team. This is a mod team. Part timers.
You don't want in VR right now. Like
this looks everything better than Horizon, Meta, or whatever they call it.
VR games ain't it right now. Let me just put it that way. Ain't it? Ain't getting funded.
It isn't. Yeah.
Nobody's rushing out saying, hey, let me make a VR game. You know, Valve is like holding down the fort. New VR games, like I can't name one right now.
I just gave you two, dude.
They're all from Valve. I mean, beyond the ones from Valve, right? And these are mods and stuff too, right? So like I can't name one, right? So actually I take that back. I can't name one. A friend of mine is making a VR game that's actually doing pretty well. But it's very few and far between. You know what I mean? So
yeah. No, unfortunately I hear you. I mean, I'm the first one to tell you that it might die before it gets traction.
Yeah.
But like in terms of excitement, VR games are the ones that kind of makes me feel like early in my industry career, right? In my career where I was excited about games. I don't get that with regular games anymore as much because it feels like a mixture of the same kind of gameplay.
Yeah. I can see like you want something different, and VR is giving you that different thing.
It makes me feel different when I play in there versus just staring at a screen.
I swear I remember like I was bigging up Beat Saber and you were hating on it, but what you really wanted, you just want
Beat Saber cannot be the face of VR, bro. I can't.
You want AAA VR games. I understand, right?
I want AAA VR games.
You don't want just VR games. You want to be immersed in your AAA environment.
I want to put on a headset and escape. You know, I want virtual reality. Yeah. I don't want to put it on and look at disco lights. Yes, you're correct.
Even though I tell you right now, Beat Saber better than this.
Beat Saber's not better than this. Well, in terms of replayability, sure. In terms of accessibility and to the masses, of course. But for me, the type of game I want to play, it has to be VR, and it has to be the games like first person, third person. It doesn't even have to be shooters, you know. just kind of making game designers think differently, you know. And like if you can do that where all games are kind of using the joystick to move forward, and you can take it all the way to the fundamental of just moving the player forward, moving me forward, and I feel different than the last 20, 30 years. That's exciting to me, right? Like all the remakes, all these games that are coming out, you know, without looking at the instruction manual, I feel like I already know how to play it, right? To me, that's just not. I'm past that now. I've been doing that forever. Well, you play COD, you can play any shooters that come out without any instruction.
Yeah,
It feels the same.
yeah. I feel you on that. I just don't think VR is it though.
No, unfortunately, Zuckerberg is right. It is a long game, and it really has to start making money for them to continually invest in technology where the immersiveness of moving your fingers, touching things, introducing other sensory into the game itself, haptic feedback, all of your body and shit, you know. Like to me, that's if you were a billionaire and you have all the money in the world and just make whatever game you want, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, not a lot of game developers have that access now to kind of create the technology to kind of make things reality. That is what's required for VR to be widely adopted. It feels like, and to me, Valve is the only one that kind of has that luxury that can maybe do that, you know, because they sure as hell not releasing games right now. So they must be. Even when they said a couple years ago, we're serious now. We're for real, for real.
They released Half-Life Alyx, man. That's a
but nothing since. They disappeared. They were super gun ho. It's like, hey man, we have 3 games in development after Half-Life Alyx. We're back in it, guys. We're back. Radio silence. Radio silence. Well, I mean, they were on a rhythm, man. They announced 3 games in development. You know, they were. You know, you don't say that. You know, you have 3 games in development and disappear for another 5 years. They were fully intending to get those released.
They've had 3 games in development for like 30 years. Like,
I know. So now they're eating their words again, and I guess it's taking longer than they anticipated. And
yeah.
Anyways, I want to end it with just kind of concluding that the game industry is healthy. It's fine. I kind of have this feeling though that a lot of companies are waiting on bated breath to see what others are doing first. You know, as soon as a big company and another big company and another big company start pushing people back in the office, it's going to be less competitive to acquire employees, and employees will soon, like I told you before, get out of their farms forcibly to compete again for jobs and not just call the shot. But more realistically, your scenario might be happening where they'll get some back, but most are still gonna hold remote jobs until they can't.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's gonna be some form of collaboration needed, and people are gonna be like, hey, we could collaborate better and really iterate better together in an office. And so, like, I think where it's better, it will naturally happen. You know what I mean? But will there be some edict from somebody saying you guys have to come back up in here? I don't know. Like, I don't know. Or will it be a mass return to the office? I don't know. And especially right now too, people are still worried about COVID as much as, like, you know, everybody's acting as if, you know, life is back to normal.
COVID's over.
there's still a lot of there's still a lot of people that are still worried about COVID, right? And so they're just like, no, I'm not coming back to the office, or the offices that are like requiring people to be vaccinated and all of that stuff, right? Um, so so we'll see how it turns out, man. We'll see.
All right, I'm gonna say that Sony is gonna be the first one to force everyone back. They have like the craziest crunch stories before the pandemic, man. You think they're thriving right now with everyone not being forced to crunch
I'm pretty
long
sure.
70 hours?
I'm pretty sure a lot of those companies, the employees are already back in the office. Like, you know what I mean? Like for companies like that, I think in some of those cases, it's not a matter of like you have to come back. It's just the employees just go back, right? Because it's time to get back to work. You know what I mean? So I'm sure. Like, yeah, I don't know how remote Naughty Dog is right now. You know what I mean? Right?
Never stopped, in my opinion.
Yeah,
There's no way.
yeah.
You see all those Last of Us remakes, dude?
Right.
Someone was in the office making those.
Yeah, but like I said, large scale return to the office. No, man, I don't think so.
Yeah.
We'll see.
All right. Well, thank you, Ray, for joining us. As always, you can find him on Twitter at Wadarass, Wadarass.
That is
Yeah.
it. That is
Tweet
correct.
at him your opinions. I hope you're right, Ray. You are the positive light for the industry. I'm more the cynical one,
I
as
could be very
always.
wrong, but we'll see.
I think most likely it'll be in between. I don't think it's immediate. Um, I do agree with you. Sony probably has a lot of those people back in the office. I have seen a lot of people leaving Naughty Dog lately, who's been there for 10 years. So something's happening. It's shaking up. Um, but I think Sony, a company like Sony, a company like Bethesda, because that's another big one that loves people in the office. Um, I think one by one, uh, people are going to be encouraged, and maybe in 18 months. I still think in 18 months, 2024, right, is when I think a majority of the industry people will be back,
Yeah.
and those who are holding out will find themselves in a less competitive standing to their counterparts. Promotions are going to be handed out at the end of the year, dude. We'll see. We'll see if remote Steve is going to beat Office Bob.
Well, the remote person might not care about the getting promoted. They might just
Oh,
be
he's
like,
going to care if he's
good
not going to
deal.
be included in calls anymore. It's all right, Steve. You don't need to join this one. Well, we had the meeting without you.
Oh,
You weren't by your
boy.
desk. Where were you?
So,
Impromptu meeting, man. Sorry, dude. Last
so
minute.
silly. So silly.
As always, man, thanks for coming on. Super delightful. I know we're in the middle of the month, but I always count these roundtables as kind of kickoff for the next 3 episodes. And I'm gonna dig, man. I'm gonna dig deep to kind of see how true my prophecies are for the coming month. As always, thank you all, and have a good